Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. One of my favorite baits for this time of year, the springtime, is a spinnerbait. And so I want to go quickly into how I choose a spinnerbait for the different conditions that you might be faced with, both the water conditions and the weather conditions for this time of year. I feel like a spinnerbait is such a tremendous fish producer, but also a tremendous fish locator. So it's a real potent bait for the early springtime when you're coming out of the winter into the pre-spawn and just before the spawn and even into the spawn in certain situations. So let's get into the basically three main color combinations that I'm going to reach for during the early spring. Number one, when the water's stained, say visibility of less than 6 to 8 inches, I like a fire tiger, a bright color like this. This is a fire tiger spinnerbait. And I generally, if the water's really stained, I'm probably going to go with a Colorado type blade, which is a rounded blade like that, because it puts out more pressure waves and also elevates the bait, lets me move it slower because fish are going to have a harder time finding the bait because they can't see it as well. And so it's putting out more pressure waves. It slows the bait down, but also keeps the bait elevated in the water column. Seems like when the fish are in that dirtier water, they're going to be near targets, near like different types of cover pieces, but also shallower, especially in the springtime. So this is going to be a great bait for putting out pressure waves, elevating the bait, putting a nice presence, a feeling in the water that helps the fish locate the bait. So Colorado, shallower, more vibration, and definitely helps fish track down your spinnerbait. So Colorado in that dirtier water. But sometimes I'll use an Indiana also. And that's what I've got on this fire tiger. Indiana's kind of a nice in-between between a Colorado and a willow. The Indiana enables you, and the Indiana's more of a teardrop. The Colorado's more rounded. And this enables you to continue to put out pressure waves and enables fish to kind of find the bait through their lateral line, even when they can't see it as well. Slows it down, but also enables it to sink a little bit more. So maybe the water's not quite dirty, not quite that dirty as, say, maybe there's a little bit more visibility, then I'm going to reach for more of that Indiana. But I'll definitely play with the Colorado, the Indiana, and then the willow leaf for more clear water. So those are the three main spinnerbait or blade combinations that I'm going to reach for: Colorado, Indiana, and a willow leaf. The willow leaf puts out less vibration, enables the bait to go faster and through the water column, but also enables it to sink down in the water column if all things are equal. If my retrieve speed's the same, if my rod tip elevation is about the same, that's the blade combination. When it comes to leaving that more muddy water where you have more visibility, say 8 inches to say 1.5 feet, or maybe all the way up to 2 feet, depending upon the weather conditions, the chartreuse and white works really well. If I'm having more overcast conditions or rain or wind, then sometimes that chartreuse and white will also work in clear water situations. But this is a great stained to muddy water color. And again, I've got that Indiana. This is kind of the middle of the road, Colorado being the shallowest one and the dirty and the most pressure waves and elevates the bait the most. Again, the Indiana lets it sink down a little bit more, not as much pressure waves as the Colorado, but more than the willow. Then when I've got more clarity, say anything over 16 inches to 2 feet, 2.5 feet of water, then I'm gonna go with a willow leaf blade. And the willow leaf blade is cool because it spins faster, enabling me to move the bait faster, which is better when they can see a bait from a further area. You want them to be able to get a look at it, but not really tell that it's a fake bait and it's not the real thing. So the willow leaf, actually that blade spins faster, enables me to move the bait faster, looks a little bit more elongated like a natural bait fish presence. And so it also sinks down in the water column. The more clear the water is, you want to let it drop down in the water column. So those are the three different blade combinations. Those are the three different colors that I use. That's kind of how I select a spinnerbait for springtime bass fishing. Again, the Colorado gives me the most vibration, elevates the bait. The fire tiger color, that bright chartreuse, that's going to be what I'm going to use when the fish have a hard time seeing in that more dirtier water. The chartreuse and white in that more stained water, and then the plain old white when I am fishing in more clear water. And those are the blade combinations. So that's my little spinnerbait selection overview. Thank you for tuning in back into my YouTube channels. I'm going to continue to send out some different tips on spinnerbaits and different things like trailers, a trailer hook, not to throw a trailer hook, and other things in elevating your spinnerbait by rod tip. There's so much more to talk about. So thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And until next time, good fishing.